Hey everybody. So I just wanted to jump back on here and kind of recap the day a little bit. Actually, let me get rid of this. Need to get my chart back up here. Here we go. Okay. So, sorry, I have so much stuff. I was working with one of my programmers today and have all this other random stuff on my chart. So let me go back to where I need to be. Here we go. This is the chart we were looking at. So, yeah, today was fun. And the reason I wanted to recap is the past 2 days. So if you watched my analysis yesterday as well as my live trading and then the analysis today, this morning, I mentioned that we really looked like we needed to come back to this 42.15 level. And so this was yesterday's price action. We obviously traded away from there. And then overnight, we were kind of just chopping around. At the open today, let me get rid of some of this stuff. At the open today, we were right before the pre-market. We were up here, and definitely was saying that it wasn't comfortable going long up here. You can see we really just sort of ratcheted down from there. We had this level drawn, this sort of 97 level, right around 4,200. That's been drawn for a couple of days as just sort of a key level, and you can see we came right back down to that. Now, I was also watching, once we moved up here, I was watching this level down here, this 4202 as a target, because as the day unfolded, we were just we really started grinding up, and then there was a little bit of a demand area, a little high volume area right here that hadn't really been tested. And so as we were going up here, I really felt like we needed to come down. And if you remember, I kept saying in the morning analysis to watch 42.15 for a reversal. So I actually put a limit order right at 42.15. Unfortunately, right before lunch, I canceled the order because I wanted to step away from my computer and just didn't want to be thinking about it. And I came back essentially to this, right? Like we hit 42.15 to the tick. I actually think my order was like 42.14.75 because I usually like to go like one tick lower to get a fill. So that was just gorgeous. And I was really, really annoyed that I missed that. I actually ended up taking this price action still looked good, and we still had good strength in these moves. And one thing that I use for that, I'm having built for TradingView, but also for Thinkorswim right now, is an indicator that I have built for NinjaTrader specifically for the bot that I run. And it's this indicator down here. We call it Swing Force. And we're actually adding more features to it, so it's going to be even more powerful. But I want to go to this area. So this is where we were kind of grinding sideways. And sorry, I have way too many windows open. This is totally my bad here. So we were sort of grinding sideways in this price action right here. And then we pushed up to 42.15 and then retraced. So what that looks like on Ninja is this sideways grind right here. And what I want to point out is the swing force. The way this indicator works is the green and red simply correspond to whether it's a bullish leg or a bearish leg. Getting some lag on my mouse here. It's a little odd. And then whether they're increasing, whether this line is moving upwards or slanting downward, just has to do with whether that bullish leg has more or less force to it than the bearish leg that preceded it. So in this case, this little bearish retracement had less force than this bullish leg that sort of came after it. And what we look for if we're going to take trend following trades is we would want the retracement legs to have less force than the continuation leg. So for instance, this continuation leg had slightly increasing force from the previous leg, but this retracement leg actually had more force than the continuation leg. And then this continuation leg had even less force. You see that the green is angled downward, and then this one even less force. And that's really indicative of a market that is consolidating. Notice that the the highs are getting lower and the lows are getting higher. So we're kind of creating like a triangle pattern, if you will. But we can see that in this swing force. So I love this indicator. Like I absolutely love it. So this is where we hit 42.15 right here, and then we retraced. And I'm going to move these closer together so that I can switch more easily. And so this retracement here corresponds to this retracement here. And so what we see is that while all of these legs were sort of losing force, when we pushed up out of it, we had increasing force on that leg, and then this retracement had less. And that made me, even though I was a little bit cautious because I had this area marked off as, you know, a demand zone, like this whole chunk basically from 42.13 up to, you know, 42.16. And then of course we probably put a stop above the high here, but, and I had 15 marked off as like the sort of like the key area there. So I wasn't super confident taking a long into all of this, but because we had increasing force, decreasing force, I was confident taking a long on this reversal. And I was able to eke out, I think, a couple points on this from where I entered. So that worked out pretty nice. And then you can see we start retracing. And as we retrace, we start to see the same thing. See how we have increasing force? And then on this bullish leg, the force is decreasing. So that's where we can start taking shorts. So even though I missed my entry here, when I saw this happen and then this occur on less force, I knew this was confirmation. So we could have entered on the limit order here blindly without confirmation and got a beautiful entry with beautiful risk reward. But if we're not comfortable taking those kinds of entries, we can wait for confirmation. And this gave us confirmation on the, you know, we have a lower high, but also on our force, on our swing force meter. So this gave us the confirmation that we needed to take this short. So that worked out really, really well for me. I was able to basically grab, is that the one we were looking at? Yeah, sorry, too many charts open because I was working on a few projects today. I was able to basically grab this, I think it was this move right here. It was this came down with more emphasis, more force, and then this retracement from this low to this high had significantly less force to it. And so when I got this bearish close, these are what we call the DPM control candles, and it just gives us a better emphasis of whether bulls or bears are in control of the market. Also helps us emphasize to find the right time frame, the dominant time frame for how the patterns are playing out. But regardless, when I got this bearish close, this candle closed bearishly, I entered this trade, chopped around a little bit, took a little heat. I had my stop up above this, but I caught the bulk of this move. I took part of the position off and then trailed the stop, and I think I got taken out of my trailing stop here. I didn't want to trail my stop that aggressively. Honestly, I would have preferred to just leave it at break even, but I actually had to step away from the computer again. And so I just, I figured I might as well bring the stop down and make sure I lock in profit. Had I left it at break even, we could have caught the rest of this move. And that's really what we were expecting. My downside target was this 42.02, and we could see we blasted right through that. So that worked out nicely. We're just consolidating here basically as the day closes up. But I just wanted to point out how those levels kind of work. And if you pay attention to the morning analysis, this trade got spoon fed to you. You know, so we've been calling out that level for, you know, over 24 hours now, and that trade really got spoon fed to us. So, you know, pay attention to the morning analysis. I'm going to try, now that I've got everything up and running here, to post more regularly. And again, if you want to join us, we do have a free chat room, dpmtrades.com. You can join the chat room on Discord. And we have a paid version too. The paid version gives you access to the indicators and also trade signals. But in all honesty, you know, these indicators, I like them. I don't actually use a ton of indicators when I trade. You'll notice my chart for the most part is pretty naked. And the indicators that I do use are all price action based. They're not really like lagging indicators like moving averages are, with the exception of my volatility indicator that I use. But so that's kind of it. dpmtrades.com. Join us, trade with us for free. I don't run the chat room for income. I run it for fun. Even my paid membership is only $25 a month. Gives you access to all the channels in the room, plus the indicators. I think that's dirt cheap. I just kind of cover some of my research and development costs. I don't know how to code, so I have to pay programmers to do the coding for me. And this bot that I use is, we're just tweaking a few things, but we're going to be offering that as well. There'll be a separate fee for that. But regardless, join the free room. It's fun. We trade. If you want to trade S&P 500 futures, or really any futures, because sometimes I trade other symbols as well. And some of the other members of the group trade, NQ. Sometimes I trade gold. So regardless, if you're interested in trading with us, if you're trying to learn how to trade more consistently and more profitably, you can do that. Today was kind of a mediocre day for me. I started the day with some losses, so I ended up green, but sort of just slightly. I think I had like $175 profit at the end of the day. By the time I stopped trading, I should say. But that's, hey, profit's better than nothing. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll check in with you all tomorrow.